If you ever found yourself in front of the fridge at 9 p.m., not really because you are hungry, but because you are just bored and so you have no idea what else to do except to just look for food. Well, I'm a Christian and I used to struggle with a similar thing myself. So today I'm going to give you the 3 steps that helped me to overcome this challenge, and I know for a fact that they're also going to help you. So before we get to that, we must first understand what boredom eating actually is, or what causes us to just start to binge eat when we are bored. I want you to imagine yourself in a shopping mall and you're just walking looking for stuff, and then suddenly the fire alarm goes off. So people start to run around and they're looking for safety. They didn't see the fire, but because the alarm went off, they take that as a signal that something very dangerous is about to happen and that they could be potentially burnt to death. So they start to run around looking for safety. Well, that's how your brain works. Your brain is treating boredom like that fire alarm. And so when your brain feels boredom, it takes that as a signal that something bad is happening. We're going to cover this more in a second. And so your brain panics and then it starts to look for relief from this boredom. And for you, that relief comes through food. So now that you understand how this works, I'm going to give you the 3 steps to then avoid this from happening next time. And so let's go on to step number 1. Not understanding this first step is why many people start to overthink and then they start to make wrong decisions that then go on to ruin their life in many different ways. So I want you to imagine the weather outside, right? Let's say it's just cloudy and there's really no sun and the sky is just filled with clouds. Let's say that is the weather outside, and you can imagine that and you can imagine how that looks like. But then imagine a news reporter comes on and she's like, this weather is very terrible. Nothing good can come out of this. Suddenly, it's now perceived as terrible. But the clouds didn't do anything. The clouds are just there in the sky. But the story that is being told about the clouds being there in the sky and the weather condition is what's going to make this weather now look terrible. The same thing for you. Boredom alone is just a feeling, but the story that you tell yourself about boredom is what's going to make boredom lead to binge eating for you. So step number 1 is you need to separate the boredom from the story that you tell yourself in your mind. And for you, the story that you are telling yourself could be, I'm bored, that means I have nothing to do, which means I am lazy. Or I'm bored since I have nothing to do, it means that I'm being unproductive. Or it means that I'm not really living out my potential. I should be studying right now, I should be working, I should be preparing for X, Y, and Z. Basically, you are telling yourself that because you are bored, it means you are doing something wrong. You are treating boredom as this alien feeling. And step number 1, you must just remove that. Now, after you separate the feeling of boredom from the story that you tell yourself, you need to then implement step number 2. Otherwise, you might have just wasted your time, right? So, for you to understand how step number 2 works, I want you to imagine you're in a bus and you're just traveling, going to visit your grandma, for example, right? You know where you're going. So you're in a bus and they are playing some cool music. And then suddenly they start playing that one song that you hate. You can imagine what that song is for you. So if they start playing that song, are you going to jump out the window because you hate the song? Are you going to start throwing stones at the driver? Oh no, you just sit there and then eventually the song is going to pass. And that's exactly how boredom works. If you just sit there, it's going to pass. Or even if it doesn't pass, at least the binge eating cravings that it causes are going to pass. So step number 2 is you need to learn to sit with boredom. Cool thing is, once you learn and you master the step, you're going to find that if you just sit there and allow yourself to be bored, you're going to start to come up with creative ideas, with unique ideas for whatever stuff you're into. For me, I start getting ideas about YouTube or making videos and making thumbnails. It's really crazy. Now, telling yourself to just sit with boredom is cool, but step number 3 is what's going to allow you to then make this practical and make this applicable in everyday life. And if you don't master step number 3, then a lot of these 2 steps won't really help you that much. So here's the problem: most people just feel bored unexpectedly, and when that happens, their brains panic. And to understand how dangerous this is, think of someone who has never been in a lot of water or in deep waters before. They've never went to a swimming pool, they don't practice swimming at all. And then one day, they're in a boat with their friends, and then they fall off into the sea. And that person is going to panic to hell. He's going to panic like never before. Not really because the water in the sea is dangerous or that falling into the sea is dangerous. Like, it's not dangerous because some people literally jump in the sea on purpose, right? But because that person has never been trained to be in that much water and to be calm with it. They've never actually practiced how to swim. So now they're going to freak out. Well, that's exactly how boredom works. If the only time that you feel bored is when it crashes to you and you never actually practice being bored, then obviously when you feel bored, you're going to naturally tend to panic and to overthink and to start trying to run away from it. But then the real question becomes, well, how do you actually practice boredom in real life? Well, that, my friend, is where meditation comes in. Meditation is basically swimming in boredom so that next time it crashes on you, you're not going to be afraid. And so you need to meditate. But teaching you how to meditate properly deserves its own video. Because if you do it wrong, you're going to quit. And if you quit, your boredom will still control you and still cause you to binge it. So if you want to learn the best way to meditate, especially if you're a Christian who is trying to stop binge eating, then watch this video right here and I'll show you exactly how to do that.